Ludella is Boston-based, so special thanks for the extra miles on that one. She's going to come up and tell a story. She is a professional actress, model, and burlesque dancer. Come on up, Ludella.
I'm not a professional storyteller, so please don't judge harshly. So my story is going back not so much to the loss of innocence, but more to just being extremely innocent. I'm going back to toddler age. Now, it's very common for toddlers to have kind of a comfort object, whether it be a blanket or a stuffed animal. And I had a blanket, and it had a highly original name, Blanky. And this blanket was my best friend. It went everywhere with me. It was the blanket that kept me warm in my crib when I was a baby, and then from there, got dragged around on all my adventures. Blanky was yellow, and I found out that Blanky was not always yellow. Blanky was white at one point in time. But as far as I could remember, Blanky was yellow, and yellow is my favorite color. Coincidental, maybe, I don't know. So in, I think 1990, I was about 4 years old. My mother brought us to a new daycare, and Blanky came with me every day to this daycare. This was also the time that the Ninja Turtles were very popular, and I was obsessed with the Ninja Turtles. Every day, I was a different turtle, and Donatello was my favorite. Yeah, he was. And around that time, purple became my favorite color. Again, maybe a coincidence? I don't know. So anyway, one day after daycare, I noticed there was this big fuzzy on Blanky. And being a perfectionist, I guess, even at that young age, I wanted to remove this blemish. So I started pulling, and when I pulled, it didn't come off. So I pulled harder, and then there was a little hole there, but the fuzzy still wouldn't come off. And I got really panicky about it and aggressive, and I kept pulling and pulling, and soon there was this hole the size of my head, and that was the point where I thought, oh no, I can't undo this, it's not working, it's not going back. And I stopped pulling, and I brought the blanket to my father, and I'm sure he tried to comfort me, and he cut off the long string of unraveling and sent me to bed. One of the great things about kids are how resilient they are. So after having that little upset moment that night, the next day, how I handled it and made myself feel better was when I went to daycare that day. I was not Donatello, no. I put the blanket over my head and wore it as a cape, and I was the Shredder. So that was how I dealt with that, and I think it's a good lesson in life to, make the best of things and keep that innocence.